AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun. Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is.
Bill Maher is not backing down from his criticism of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and he says there is a specific reason why. According to Maher, she is being positioned as a future leader within the Democratic Party, and if she eventually takes control of the DNC, he believes Democrats could face major political problems.
Like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through shit-colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable, privileged assholes we are? Immigrants.
Several years ago, Bill Maher repeatedly warned Democrats about Kamala Harris, but in his view, those warnings were ignored. The party moved forward anyway, and after the disappointing results of the 2024 election, Maher believes his concerns were proven right. Now he is raising another alarm. This time, his focus is AOC and what he sees as her highly idealistic vision for the country. Maher is not approaching the issue with mild criticism. He is challenging the entire argument head-on and questioning the direction he believes the party is moving toward.
AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet. I don't think people realize we already have a lot of socialism. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment insurance, food stamps, veterans benefits, Pell Grants, COVID-era payments, farm subsidies, disability payments, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, corporate bailouts, and the jobs program that is building weapons the Pentagon doesn't.
If you've been following AOC recently, you've probably noticed her growing connection with New York mayoral candidate Suraj Patel, and the political messaging has become increasingly visible. The pair recently promoted a video encouraging New York parents, regardless of immigration status, to enroll their children in the city's free pre-K and childcare programs. However, the larger discussion centers on where these policies could eventually lead. Patel's campaign has strongly emphasized expanding publicly funded childcare, and he has also worked alongside Governor Kathy Hochul to support broader social programs. Combined with his support for sanctuary city policies and calls for major immigration reforms, critics argue that a broader political agenda is taking shape. Maher says he is not opposed to helping families or supporting children. His concern is that America already has social programs intended to balance capitalism without replacing it entirely. When government involvement continues to expand, Maher argues, cities can gradually become weighed down by bureaucracy, slower decision-making, and growing administrative control.
ESA are radicals about this concept, and radical economic policy is always ineluctably married to radical social policy. Their platform, for example, calls for completely open borders. They're for what Biden was doing, but more. You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act?
If some voters view Joe Biden as being too far to the left, Bill Maher argues that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez represents an even more progressive direction. When comparing the two, Maher believes the differences become clear. Biden, despite criticism from both sides, generally operated from a more moderate position. While he supported certain immigration reforms and more flexible border policies, there were still regulations, limits, and attempts to maintain order. Maher sees AOC differently. He argues that she and many of her progressive allies are more supportive of policies that significantly reduce enforcement and restrictions. Where Biden might be willing to slow down or reconsider controversial proposals, Maher believes AOC is more likely to continue pushing forward. For him, the debate is no longer just about individual policies. It is about two fundamentally different visions for America's future.
Say the next time we have debates, the moderator needs to frame that question a little differently, as say something about America that you like? Because honestly, I don't know why the people who are fighting for this country so hard even wanted any.
According to Bill Maher, this is where the conversation begins to feel unusual. His question is straightforward: why work so hard to lead a country that often seems to be portrayed so negatively? Generally, when people care deeply about something, they focus not only on its flaws but also on its strengths. Maher argues that with AOC, the criticism rarely stops. There always seems to be a new reason for frustration or outrage. Whether certain policies succeed, economic indicators improve, or employment numbers rise, he believes the response is often continued criticism rather than acknowledgement of progress. Maher says there is a difference between wanting to improve a system and acting as though the system is fundamentally beyond repair. One approach reflects accountability and reform. The other, he argues, can come across as frustration disguised as policy. Over time, he believes voters recognize that distinction, even when it is not openly discussed.
That started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking and unable to change. But we have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost.
Bill Maher says the broader issue becomes difficult to ignore once people begin paying attention to it. In his view, some voices on the left increasingly describe America as a country in constant crisis rather than a nation that is imperfect but still functioning. He argues that the rhetoric sometimes goes too far. Maher points to comments from figures such as Cori Bush, including claims that black Americans are not truly free in the United States. While he supports debates about inequality, criminal justice reform, and social challenges, he believes describing America as entirely lacking freedom overlooks important realities. Maher notes that black Americans have achieved success at the highest levels of business, government, law, and politics, including serving as CEOs, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices, and presidents. He argues that when every problem is presented as evidence of complete societal failure, the message begins to shift. Instead of sounding like an effort to improve the country, it can start sounding as though the country itself is viewed as hopeless. And according to Maher, when politics becomes driven more by resentment than practical solutions, voters eventually notice.